spoiler, the two-handed approach was very much to compensate for his size. And she literally had to run and jump on him because it was the only way she could pierce him.
A group of serial killers attending a 12-step meeting tried to kill me and my accomplice before disappearing, leaving us with 3 dead bodies?
No, 2 dead bodies.
It's one word, right? Bullshit.
How does it feel to be doing all of this remotely?
Doing like Zooms and stuff, I mean, it's not the same. It's not like you don't feel like you really went out and did it, because then you just close your laptop and you're back in your house. So it's fun, and I'm super happy that we're still able to do it, but I look forward to properly, like I'd like to be able to see Amber and have her energy play off of me and all that, right?
Need a ride?
As far as I can.
Hop in.
The action scenes. How much of that was you? Like, as in, did you have a stunt double? Because you were giving it some.
I did them all myself. I didn't have a stunt double for this project. I have to say, I do like really, really love and appreciate stunt teams because they always make us look so good. But it was a real treat on this one that they let me do all of my own stuff, and they worked with my skills and my comfort level and my proficiency. And we also, in working with Craig Henry, the stunt coordinator, we would try to make each takedown kind of unique and work with who my opponent was. So like with Mike being this big, massive guy, we were like, we need to have it so she has to use her full body against his. And like, without giving too much of a spoiler, the two-handed approach was very much to compensate for his size. And she literally had to run and jump on him because it was the only way she could pierce him.
Yeah, I love the terms you're using. Take down, pierce him. This is great. And you're clearly nothing like her in real life. Evan, can you tell me? Because you got to be with her when it was like, cut.
Well, I mean, maybe we don't get to see how sweet and caring Carrie could be, but Amber definitely is. And I will speak to her and her stunts, is that she was a total badass on set. Like, she was down for everything. Like, even that whole like knife flipping thing, like she just learned it and came with that ready, and it was super sick. It was, I mean, I actually posted this like behind the scenes clip on my Instagram where she has to like boot me in the chest, and I had like a little thing here, but she had to hit her mark with the kick, and it was awesome. It was so fun watching it.
Well, I love this love between you guys. It feels as though you were like a little happy family. And after talking to Cody with the O Cream, I did notice he's just got this really infectious, cool energy. So is this just the way it was? Like, you all just got along? Because sometimes when you put so many different people in a room, it can be slightly awkward.
The vibe that both Cody and Chad set in terms of how they work and how much they love making films and just the energy they brought to the project made it a really fun environment on set. You know, they were geeking out whenever we nailed something, and you could just see them behind the monitor having a blast, seeing this come to life, seeing it come off the page. And that energy was infectious. You know, we could feel them digging it, and then we're like, okay, we're onto something. It would motivate us to keep going. And it was very collaborative too. Like, they trusted us to bring ideas, to play, to try things. It felt like indie filmmaking at its best.
Yeah, and it's funny because Evan and I were just talking just before, while we were waiting for you, because you were fashionably late, which is fine, because you're the hero. And we were talking about the fact that the two of you are so lucky to be in a position where you're able to kind of wrestle between what feels like a big studio type of film or TV series and then the indie scene. And like, Evan, it'd been lovely to hear from you, but you were saying, yeah, it's really cool to be able to do Shazam and then do something like Vicious Fun, because it shows your versatility as an actor.
Yeah, you get. I mean, it's tough because I've not done a bunch of big production things, but though they have a bit more room to do things, like, whereas on an independent, it's kind of like, if you get it, you got it. Can we move on? But that's why I see with Cody, it didn't feel like that at all, because like, honestly, after day one, I clued in to the fact that he was just going to be like, okay, now we got that. What do you want to do? Or what do you guys want to do? And it was that's I can breathe when I do that, especially in a comedy, because I always have ideas, even if it's in the moment. And it's just like, it takes more out of me to not do it than to for some people to do it. And so when I can have that release, and relief of Cody letting me do that. It's huge for me as more of a comedic actor.
Quarter!
It got really messy. I like it messy sometimes.
Smack in the face. I'm like a coiled snake.
Gentlemen, we are about to have a lot of fun tonight.
Obviously, it was the 80s era. The music, the style. I think you were kind of Marty McFly, Back to the Future vibes. Yeah. Amber, if you could go to the 80s right now as grown-up Amber, like, what do you think you would love to, like, experience?
Everything.
Everything.
My favorite thing about the 80s is this idea that you can't really go too big. Like so much stuff, whether it's your clothes or your hair or with the music or with performances. Like there was a lot of let's go big. And that there's something so freeing about that. You know, we're always cautious of like, oh, is that too much? Or am I grounded enough? Like sometimes it's fun to just be like, you know what, I'm taking the gloves off and I'm just trying something and it's okay if it goes too far. I feel like even as an actor, the 80s is a really fun era, or would have been a really fun era to work in, just based off of our experience with an 80s film. Just for the freedom that you have within the look.
Evan, a little birdie tells me you're a fan of Whitney Houston. So knowing that, I mean, I'm just thinking leotard, maybe not on you. Okay, leotard, headband, leg warmers, perm.
To the 80s, my thing would be the clothing for sure, but I'd want to go to like the party scene because I just know they went in, and there'd be something nice about knowing you're not like getting like filmed and put on someone's story, even if you look like a fool. So there'd be something nice about that.
Yeah, that is actually true. And in the film, you play a horror film critic, sort of similar to my job, although I do more video reviews. It's quite hard to be critical of people. I think I've got this new thing where I always say, if I haven't got something good to say, just I'm not reviewing it, I'm not featuring it, because I just feel like someone's art is so precious to them that it's really difficult for me to trash someone's work. But you guys, sadly, are actors, which means that people are paid to talk about your work. So I don't know if you're anything like your character, who's pretty outspoken, but do you ever, like when you're about to release something like this film came at midnight, are you like the person that Googles? Are you looking at what people are saying?
I prefer not to. I mean, I've read a couple reviews here and there, and luckily the ones I've read have been pretty good. But I think I prefer to stay away from it. It's not even on the off chance, I guess, that I might read a bad review and what it'll do to me. It's just more that that's not my place. My job's done, right? And what's weird about being the actor is that a lot of the time it seems like it's on you, whereas a lot of, like, I mean, good or bad, all of it goes to the director. Like a lot of it. I mean, this movie being so successful, I give a lot of that to Cody and just the vision he had from the get-go and everything like that. All the song choices and edits that he did. It's like I can't take credit for that as much as I'd like to. So I think for me, I just like to enjoy the film, enjoy the final product, and just kind of keep my head away from the reviews and Google.
If we go with your theory, then that means any bad reviews over to Cody.
Yeah, it's all Cody's
It's not our fault, we're just the actors, you can't blame us. But what about you, because this is a part of your job, that, you know, social media, everybody's now like, as soon as, for example, I watched your Netflix series, Sex Life, I wanted to know where the cast were, and I was like, oh my god, where are they? And everyone goes straight away on Instagram, Twitter to try and find who they are, what they're like in real life. How did you find that part of it? Is it a bit like insane? Or is it a bit intrusive, or do you get it and understand it?
With Sex Life, it's been pretty funny.
Yeah.
Because I'll get messages from like my accountant being like, my secretary came in and said, don't watch your client's show Sex Life because she's a total bitch and she's given up. I'm like, wow, that's my accountant and he's like, I'm definitely going to watch it now. And just like, I'm in this show with a lot of sex and I have an explicit scene.
Yeah.
And so it's been a lot of funny, just like really funny conversations where it's like, you're doing something extremely intimate, and it's not you, it's your character, but people who know you see you do that, and then so it's kind of like, how do you navigate that? So it's a strange thing in terms of like just personal boundaries, and like I have to remind myself like, oh yeah, that was my character, it wasn't me. Like there has to be that professional barrier in order to do like risky work, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Carrie. Like she's killing people. Like I'm not a murderer or an assassin.
Yeah, when people watch the car scene, it's like, oh, Evan, have you watched Sex Life, by the way?
I have not yet. I haven't had the chance. I know. That's all I'm hearing, but I don't watch anything.
Oh my God. I would love to chat to you after you've watched it.
Thanks so much for coming out. How do you maintain your lifestyle and keep your urges under control?
I murder the same victim repeatedly.
Just reimbursed.
Have you ever bitten into a kidney? What is this, some kind of support group for serial killers?
Why are you here?
It's complicated.
Vicious Fun, you know, we talk about the fact that there's this help sort of support group for serial killers. If you, Evan, could set up your own support group, and there is one thing you need to stop and you need help with, what would that be?
Oh man, I would probably. I would have a support group for like golf addicts, because I know I sometimes I need to go out and just hit a bucket of balls or do something when I actually should be focusing on my priorities.
Right.
But or maybe it would be like video games that I get a little too much of.
Yeah.
I don't like, it's a guilty pleasure because I can put them in the right place, but I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of vices, unfortunately.
Do you just go golfing by yourself, by the way? Do you just literally take a whole load of balls, what are they called? The things that what are they called?
My golf clubs?
Golf clubs, that's it. That's the one.
Thought you had our little group sessions on lockdown. Are you Skinner, a slicer dicer, or corpse humper?
And Amber, for you, if you could have a support group, stop something that you're doing way too much, what would it be?
I would need a support group for perfectionists.
Mm-hmm. I'm in that. I'll join you.
Nice. Yeah, I think there's a lot of us, and it can really get in the way.
Yeah.
It can get in the way of just finishing something if you need it to be perfect all the time, or for even starting something because you need it to be of a certain standard. So yeah, that's been my lifelong struggle, and something that I try to practice is to let go of getting things right, let go of it having to be perfect, just kind of embrace the mess that is life.
It's a tough profession to be a perfectionist in too.
Oh
God.
Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously.
I mean, do you critique yourself? Do you watch yourself back, and are you like really hardcore on yourself? Are you both like that as actors? Yes.
I'm tough on myself, but I started doing this, I started approaching it from just like always looking for where I can learn and how I can grow. So when I see something back, or if I do an audition and I'm like haunted by it, I just journal and I write out what I feel good about, like 3 things that I feel good about, and then 3 things that I want to work on.
I love you. You're like a little mini Oprah.
Well, it's been life-changing. It means instead of like having this fixed mindset about what I'm capable of, and then when I don't achieve that, I just feel down. I'm always about like thinking about having a growth mindset, and it just changes my perspective. So I move towards challenges happily now versus being like, oh no, that's a challenge. What if I fail and I'll lose face? Whereas like now I'm like, no, I can fail because I might learn something, and that's cool.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think this is lady called Marie Forleo. She's an author. She says, you win, you learn, but we never lose. And that's how we've got to look at things. So I always try and think that way, because I'm like, yeah, what was the lesson in this? What was the lesson in this?
How did you get in here?
I got drunk at the bar. I passed out in a closet for a few hours, okay?
911.
Yes. Oh my God, it's horrible.
Now, Bonnie told me that people are coming here to try and kill him. And maybe us.
What? Us? Why?
Awesome to talk to you both. I think you're both exciting to watch, and I think big things are around the corner. So I hope I get to talk to you guys some more as you guys are doing more stuff. But thank you so much for taking time out. Enjoy Vicious Fun! Celebrate! Even if it's just by yourselves with champagne or something. But congratulations. And I hope we get to see you in the UK at some point.
Yeah.
I hope so. I definitely hope so. It's soon.
Definitely.
It's right around the corner. And I will say, I would never normally wear a hat in an interview, but I just finished a self-tape where I had to have like the biggest, wackiest hair, and I didn't want to bring that guy into here, so that's my explanation.
I think it looks really cool. Like, it's a good thing.
I'm playing the young version of the professor in Back to the Future.